Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Gritty Hour. I have a younger looking, well shaved, well kept Shawnee boy, my Quasimodo co host, back again. How you doing, Shawnee boy?
What's up, T? I'm good, man. How are you?
Good, good. Glad to see you. You do. You look at least 20 years younger without the beard.
Thank you.
You
I
know,
guess that's a good thing. So I'll say thank you.
for those who don't know, Shawnee boy is my nephew, so he started getting gray hair when he was around 11. You were
There's
you
some
were a,
truth to that for
you were
sure.
a teenager when you started getting gray hair.
16 was the first time I noticed it.
Yeah,
It might have been sooner, but that was the first time I'm like, what the fuck?
yeah. So, those who follow us on a fairly regular basis, Sean, would be aware of your ongoing situation with Linny, your bride to be over there in the Philippines, and the things you're going through to get her to come over here. And the reason why we're having this podcast is because you recently got some really good news. Why don't you update us all?
Yeah. So I think the last time we discussed it was around January when we were like in a definite like middle pending zone. So I think I described what it was like in the beginning of the process and everything. And then around, not around February, I believe it was February 13th of 2025, we got our first step in the right direction. We got approved on the American mainland side, which is this side, my side, uh, which means that the relationship was approved as legitimate, and we got this letter. We were very excited, but in the process, there's probably about, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 real steps you have to go through, and that was like step 3. But when you're going through it for the first time, you're like, "This is it. We're done. This is great."
Book
And
that
then like,
flight. Book that flight.
yeah, yeah. Then
Yeah.
the lawyer I hired was like, "Well, not exactly." I was like, "Okay, okay." So you learn as you go, and what that just meant was is that they are approving us, but then there's a whole process. Then it gets shipped to New Hampshire, which is the Visa Center main hub, and then they have to process it. And um, I don't know if they approved it necessarily, but once they finish what they're doing, because you don't really know, you're just like, oh, it's in the New Hampshire Visa Processing Center. You're like, all right. Then that got shipped in March to the U.S. Embassy in the Philippines, and then they have to sit with it. So, like from February to about, I would say, where are we now? We're in, okay, so near early May, uh, it was just like kind of like you have an account you can create with the Homeland Security Immigration. They have a website, and you can kind of check, periodically, like, hey, and it shows you like updates and whatever, and it's just like, oh, it's here now, but it's not saying anything about like the main thing is when are we going to be able to be have her interviewed at the U.S. Embassy in the Philippines? And so from February to like for about 2 months, you're just like, wait, for March, sorry, 3 months. We were kind of like in limbo. We're like, all right, I guess we started to kind of get down. We're like, I guess the summer's not going to happen. And me being in education, I'm all for summer. Obviously, that's the perfect time for me to go over there and us to work this out
Right.
and to bring her back. It just would make life much easier. But life is what life is. You get thrown a curveball, you got to adjust.
Well,
So
the regulation is, you could look it up. It's each form has to sit under a government employee's coffee cup for at least 2 weeks before they
yeah,
look at it.
yeah. I told her, I'm like, when you eventually go to interview, see if there's any brown rings on the bubble. Just let me know.
Yeah.
So we were like, kind of losing hope for the summer. Then out of nowhere, her sister calls, guys, your case is ready. And what that means is the U.S. Embassy has approved for her now to come in and do the last 3 major steps, which is a medical, a fingerprint for the United States government fingerprinting, and the interview. But it's called securing your dates. So, how would I verbalize this? So imagine you're going to a Bruce Springsteen concert and they go on sale online, and every uh, Bruce Springsteen fan is trying to get the same tickets.
At the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little daunting. So, our case got ready. So before that, you have to fill out I forget the name of it, a DS-160, which is the official application process to receive an actual visa document, portfolio folder, whatever they give you. I'm not sure yet. So we had to do that together, send that in, and then you have to go to, at least in the Philippines, then you have to wait like a day. Then you go to a bank, and then you have to pay, and you get a special receipt with a code, and then you have to wait another day. And then once that's all done, you can now go into the website and try to get all three of those. But you have to secure like the date. It's like clicking on like for example, let's say we go in today and we want to do it June 2nd. You got to click on June 2nd and see if there's anything available.
Right.
And if there's not, then June 2nd is dead because it's already taken. So on 2 weeks ago, Thursday, so last week, 22nd, minus 15th, May 15th was a Thursday. We went on, and it probably took, she's 12 hours ahead, so we're going on around 9 o'clock at night, my time. It took about 5 hours, 4 or 5, give or take, because you also there's a learning curve to the website. How do you, like, you don't really know what you're doing to a certain degree. It's kind of like, you're just like, all right, I know to click on things, and I know how to click on a calendar, pick a date, but then there's forms you got to fill out, and there's all these things. So we clicked on June 30th, which was for fingerprinting. That's the first thing they allow you to set. So we got June 30th fingerprinting, but then that's attached to the interview date. We found out about 2 hours later that the medical is a completely different website and a completely different thing. Yeah. So you're thinking it's all going to be kind of like 1, 2, 3, but it didn't work that way. But her sister, who's been through it, was super helpful. So, Adisa, if you ever listen to this, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And then, so you get the fingerprinting, and then another calendar opens up for the interview date. There's nothing available in June. There's nothing available in July. There's nothing available in August. And we're just like, it's no good. Like, it's probably going to be in the fall, and like that. And it's just another 5 months you got to wait
Right.
on this thing that you've been waiting for almost, we've been together for over 2.5 years, like almost 2.5 years. So you're just like, all right. And like, you got to get, you get a little discouraged or you're frustrated. And then the website was kind of funky. I don't know if you've ever been on a website getting tickets before. Sometimes they crash or they get weird.
Yeah, if it gets overloaded, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was the case, but the website was just getting weird. And like, we had the June 30th, but we couldn't get an interview date. And I'm like, well, that's not going to work, obviously, because the fingerprinting has to be within 2 weeks of or somewhat close to, or maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's the medical, but you want to make it all somewhat together because it's in Manila. Like, you have to go to Manila's U.S. Embassy. So for her, that's completely in the north. So it's not like you can just go to the fingerprinting and then come back and then 3 days later go back. It turns into a huge, because the logistics of traveling and everything, you have to make it all work. So I was like, let's try it one more time. And then like we refresh, and all of a sudden, boom, July 1st, the date's open. I said, click on it. And we clicked on it. And then interview dates pop up. There was like 2 or 3 left. I think 3, maybe 2. I said, just click on the middle one. And we clicked on it, and then you secure it. It means it's yours. You can delete it, or you can change it, or you can say, I can't go to this loan anymore. But as you're getting July 1st, all those days are getting eaten up right now. So if you got rid of it and you come back a month later, it might not be until October is available. So so you have to kind of make it work. That's the one. I don't know if challenging is the right word, but that's the one part where you're just like, all right, you're kind of at the mercy of this program, but it is what it is,
Yeah, you're sweating bullets all the while.
Yeah, so we do it, we secure it, and then it comes up in a different language, and it's in Tagalog, which is the northern Filipino language. She speaks but Visayas is different, and that's what she speaks. And she's like, I can't read this because you have to print up that confirmation and bring it in, but it has to be in English, because the person that's giving the interviews is an American who speaks English. And now we're freaking out. We're like, what is all this? Because you're learning. And eventually, like, we kind of refreshed, reset, and it came back up in English, and we confirmed. This is probably like 2 hours have gone by. We confirmed the interview date and the fingerprint date, which are right next to each other in Manila. Amazing. It's right after my school year starts, so I can fly out and meet her there, which is another like gift. That was
Yeah,
As much as it,
you wrap up your school year at the end of June, yeah?
yeah, 26. So the next day I'm gone. I'm back to the Philippines,
Okay.
um
And
and then we're gonna
she
be
has to go from where she lives to Manila,
no,
right?
she's gonna meet me in Cebu, and then after my flight to Cebu, we'll get on about 6 hours later. We get on another plane to Manila. It's like an hour. It's not
Okay.
too.
Where does she live in the Philippines?
It's called Zamboanga del Norte.
Is that way in the south of the?
Yeah, it's the bottom. She's in the northern part of the bottom island.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's actually right by the ocean, and then she can just take a boat to Cebu. It's about a 10 hour. Usually you do it overnight. You could do it during the day, but a lot of times you do it
So you have to
overnight.
boat. You have to boat to Cebu and then fly from Cebu to Manila.
Yeah, she's gonna meet me at the airport, and then
Right.
the same airport. A couple hours later, we'll jump on a flight to Manila, and then we land on the 28th, and then we have a buffer day to kind of figure out, because the fingerprinting is in a separate location. We'll take a cam and figure out what that is, and then July 1st, where we're staying, we can walk to the U.S. Embassy. I did that on purpose, of course, and then we could just walk to the interview, um, and
Nice.
then she does the interview on her own, and then you find out.
And you said there's some sort of you were talking to me last weekend. There's some sort of a orientation class she has to go to. Which
Yeah, I'm not too. You have to. I'm not too. I'm not 100% sure what it entails, but it's about like coming to America. So I guess it's. I'm gonna make an educated guess and say it's more of like an assimilation seminar that's like required to take.
hmm
Coming over to a new country, so she has to get that done. So when we're done with Manila, we're gonna go back to Cebu and take care of that. And then from there we'll go back to our hometown, home province, and spend about 10 days or so and do it proper, and then come back to Cebu and get on a plane and come back to America.
So the nuts and bolts has to be taken care of in Manila, but
Yes,
the orientation class is in Cebu.
yeah, yeah. So that's where you can take it. I don't know if there's
Why the hell would
other.
they do that?
I don't know. I don't know if you could take it in other places, but we have to go back to Cebu anyway, so it kind of just works out. I don't know if they give those in different areas, but she signed up for the one in Cebu. That's
Is it?
okay.
Because we've had two other episodes regarding this particular issue,
Yeah.
trying to get Lenny over here, and I don't know if I asked you or maybe I did and forgot. Is there anything that the Philippine government requires before you say she could say, "Ah, you can go"?
Not on my side, but for her, yeah. So she has to. You have to get what's called an MBI, which is pretty much their FBI clearing, saying that she's not a criminal. So that gets vetted, and then she has to bring that to the interview. There's also like a local town police clearance that she'll bring, and then there's a I've never been married certificate, a birth certificate. So stuff like more document collection based stuff that she has to get just to prove that she is who she is, that she's never been married, that she's not a criminal, which she's done all of that. And that's kind of it. And then proof of relationship from when we sent out the first application of September of 2024. Right from that point to this point, you have to prove the relationship that it's still been ongoing through pictures and messages. And
Yeah.
obviously I went out there in April, and now I'm going back in the summer.
And when
So
you go, you're there for 4, 5, 6 weeks, right?
I'll be there for a month.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, so I'll be
I mean, when you went in the past, you didn't just go for a week. You were there
no.
for,
So the April trips were about a week and a half, and then last summer was a month.
yeah, that's what I mean. I knew you were there
Yes,
for a long time. Yeah.
and then this summer will be a month, and then when we get back to America, then I think it's 3 years, but I'm not 100% sure. But she can't go back for a while. She can't go back to her country for a while.
Yeah, somebody told me that might have been your mother over the weekend. I was shocked to hear that.
Yeah. So, but my time, how long she has to wait might be off, but I'm pretty sure it's 3 years.
And just in case, give a quick encapsulation on how you met.
Geez, February of 2023. We met online on a dating site. We always laugh about it because I thought, on dating sites, and anybody who's ever done dating sites, scamming or fake profiles is pretty common depending on which app you're using and whatever. All her pictures, a lot of her pictures are blurry, so I was like, man, I liked obviously the way she looked, but and I like her profile has some good stuff in it that I was reading, but I was like, she's not even real, so whatever. So we matched. And I'm like, I wrote a hello, smile face. I didn't think too much of it, you know.
It
I
was
can't.
the smiling face that did it.
Yeah, because when it's someone who's, if you think it's fake, you're not gonna really. It's just a basic response, like what, I'm not gonna put too much effort into it. And
Right.
then she wrote back, and I'm be honest with you, we started talking, and like from the minute we talked, and it just felt a little different. I was like, wow, but I'm like, she still might be like scammer. So then we FaceTimed. I don't know, 3 or 4 days later. I've she knows better than me how many days went by, but um, and she's like, we're only going to talk for a little bit. We ended up talking for like 3 hours, and I'm gonna be honest with you, the rest is kind of history. Like we've talked every day since.
Yeah.
You
Now
know,
you told me already. She has. I don't know if I remember the numbers. Two sisters and five brothers.
she has, including her, there's 5 daughters and 5 sons.
Oh, 5 and 5. It was
Oh yeah, yeah,
damn.
yeah.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is because I know you had mentioned to me she has two sisters that married Americans and live. I forget what you said, Alabama, or
That's correct.
were they both in Alabama?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the northern eastern part, but I can't tell
Think
you
of
which
the
what area.
odds. Think of the
Yeah.
odds. So, uh, that's great news. I'm very happy for you. You're certainly a much happier man than before you met her.
Yes, yeah, for
Just
sure.
as an outsider looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've always been a happy guy, but
No, yeah, I mean, when you found someone that you feel really good about, it,
yeah, and you have a little bit more of a pep in your step, so they say.
yeah.
I got to show you what a lawnmower is, but anyway, um, so we're all excited. I hope she knows that all the McGeedy's and Purcells, I'm assuming, are excited to have her come here.
Yeah, I tell her that. Yeah, she right now, for her, like we're excited. I know she's very excited. Obviously, she's nervous. She's about to go and leave her country
Oh,
to
it's
another country.
entirely different. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it's different for her, but yeah, she's ready. You just know when someone's ready. She's ready. There's going to be some obvious adjustments coming to a new country and the culture.
And she
Yeah,
has her sisters to tap on for their experience, so
exactly
so
that.
she
And I said,
she can relate to that. Yeah.
we'll always get through it. Just as long as we do it together, we'll get through it.
Yeah. Now the two sisters that are here already, how long have they been here?
Her oldest sister, I think, she's almost 20 years. I think
Okay.
that's the
So
right number. She
so
got married. She has,
Lenny's parents could have visited, right? Or she could have went back there by now.
yeah, yeah. She's been back to the Philippines. Definitely once or twice, but maybe more. I'm not sure exactly. And then her other sister has been now in America for 6 or 7 years. Just became a citizen. I think she just passed the test not too long ago.
No.
And then I don't
Congratulations.
know. Yeah, I don't know if she's been back to the Philippines since she's been in America. I'm not sure about that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, she might have been though. I'm not sure.
So I think I was talking to you over the weekend. For those who don't know, Shawnee Boy lives about 150, 125 yards from me
That way.
in the next house over. Yeah. You were telling me you have plans to take her down to Manhattan so she can see New York City.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once because after we get here in July, then August will be the beginning parts will be kind of focused on our wedding and everything. But then I would like to do a Brooklyn Bridge trip where we take the train down to. I don't need to explain to people, but you take the train down to the Brooklyn Bridge, and then you get out. The bridge is right there. We're gonna walk over. She's gonna be able to see the skyline in a way that the Brooklyn Bridge is. This is for anyone who's never even done it. That's been in New York. If you haven't done the Brooklyn Bridge walk, you should do it. It's a great experience. And on the other side, there's restaurants and a beautiful park, and you get to see the city in a way that you don't normally get to see it. And when you're on the bridge, just the history of it, and also being able to see the whole skyline from a perspective, like you're almost like sitting right by the side of it. Even for New Yorkers, they don't realize if you haven't done it, it's a special place.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
I've taken a lot of every year. I take my class on that walking trip because it's just You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of special. So I would like to do that with her because
And
I think that'd be
for those who don't know, or those who may be coming here, all you got to do is just walk over the bridge. You don't have to buy a ticket or anything. You
yeah,
just go
it's free. You walk over, and on the other side is just Red. I know
on the
you know, but
on the Brooklyn side. Yeah.
yeah, Red Hook. Red Hook down by the Brooklyn Bridge Park, and you got coffee shops and restaurants and ice cream shops. You can walk and the view, and it's just a nice way to be. And I think it's a nice way to kind of introduce somebody to the city without actually having to be inside the chaos of the city. You
Right.
know.
Right. Yeah, it's great. And then sometime down the road, I'm assuming a trip to Alabama is gonna take place,
Yeah, we're looking forward to.
or maybe Alabama will come up here.
I think we're gonna go there first, but not until Christmas.
Uh huh.
So we'll do Christmas here, and
So
then
can I have your portion at the Christmas dinner?
you can take it all.
I'm securing it now.
You can take it all. Yeah, we'll probably do a little bit of the day after Christmas into like a New Year's kind of. But that'd be the first time she's seen them. I want to say in 7 years,
Yeah.
something like that.
Uh huh. And
So yeah,
she'll be able to learn just how vastly different uh, Alabama is to New York. It's just,
yes, I'm sure it's going to be quite the difference. I
it'll
mean,
be,
I mean, we're New Yorkers. I've never even been to Alabama.
no, I've never been to Alabama either.
I was trying to explain it to her. She's like, "No, I'm like, yeah. I'm not saying people don't go to Alabama from New York, but if you're born and raised in New York, Alabama is not really something on your radar." You know?
No, but it might give her an easier grasp on just how enormous the country she's coming into is.
Yeah, and we're gonna do a road trip too. We're gonna drive, so she gets to kind of see some of the landscape of
Oh, you
America.
got to go to Gettysburg
In December.
and the Hall of Fame. You know, Cooperstown.
Oh wow, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
She's a Met fan, so.
I know you turned around to the Mets,
Oh
and
yeah, she
yeah,
she knows. She knows.
yeah. Well, that's good. I'm being honest when I say we're all very excited.
Yeah.
And if you need me to do anything, just let me know. I can pick you up at the airport. I can, whatever the hell you need. Yeah,
Yeah, T, I appreciate that. Yeah,
yeah.
It's good to know that everyone, that people are behind it because, you know, it's a big, it's a big step.
Now I know your mother, and your aunt. Both of them are my sisters. Have talked to Linny on Facebook or FaceTime,
Yeah,
whatever the hell
yeah.
it's called.
Yes, they have.
Yeah. So, and I know she's a subscriber to the Gritty Hour, so she has a one up on me.
She does. She knows what you look like for
Yeah,
sure.
that's not fair.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
No, but I'm sure she's just as excited as you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once we get through July 1st and, we feel, we know that it's a go, we'll kind of just breathe easy and, and everything else will just kind of take care of itself. That's how that goes. I also think it's a gift that this became front loaded in the summer, which gives me, the freedom to kind of take care of whatever I got to take care of in July, and then in August celebrate a wedding. Like it's just like as much as it was like I don't know if this just seems like it's going to be all like squished together. It's also like it allows us to have the freedom to kind of be together for two
All
months.
before you have to go back to work in September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
unless
that.
I retire early and figure something else out, but that's not going to happen.
Well, play that lottery, man. You never know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
you'll
That's
be
true.
living large, living large. So, uh, you've obviously got an input from her parents, how they feel about her coming over here, and
Yes.
her other siblings that are still over there. What's your take?
Oh yeah, they I know that they like me. Her mom likes me. Feels good about me, which is what you want. Like you want to make sure that the family feels good about you, of course.
Right.
Um, Last year, I don't know if I shared the story, but in the Filipino culture, you ask a daughter to marry you, you have you have to get the pig. You buy a pig. You have a pig roast. There's a whole,
Oh, that
you
sounds
know.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never. Have you ever had a pig killed in the same day you eat it? It's
No,
best
no.
pork I've ever had in my entire life.
I would imagine. Bacon, egg, and cheese, baby.
They down at the corner store. But I did the right thing. I asked her father for his blessing or permission, however you want to put that. And yeah, she told me he's very proud. He's proud that that she's marrying an Americana who's a teacher. He's very proud of that.
Oh, Americano. Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you when you were talking about what's the name of the language? Tulak?
The two main ones: Tagalog, which is in the north,
Tagalog?
Tagalog,
Okay.
and then in the south, it's called Vasai, Vasay.
Yeah. And what do they generally speak around the house?
Vasai. I think it's
Okay.
Vasaya. I think it's the proper correct. Yeah, but they all speak English though. They go to school learning English, so everyone knows how to speak English.
Even her mother or father speak English?
They do, but which made me laugh because they're like, "Oh, he's the teacher. He's taught English." They were a little like, it seemed like they were like, "I don't know if I want to talk to him because he's like this great speaker." I just laughed. I was like, I'm not a great speaker, but I was like, all right. But to them,
We'll see you at Cooper Union there, Shawnee boy.
yeah, I was like, I don't, yeah, I've never been known as a guy. They're like, wow, he really has a great way of the language. So, but yeah, they also.
Well, you know enough to teach it, right? You know enough to teach it. Yeah.
I know enough to teach. I just don't sound like me. And you'll be
It
all right.
falls under that. It falls under that. If you can't play your coach category, you know.
There you go. Those who
Well,
can't do teach is what they tell you.
Yeah. So I only brought up the trip to Manhattan because you had mentioned that to me this past weekend as a plan that you have.
Yeah.
I have to ask you, you're going to take her to City Field?
Yeah, at some point this year, probably like in September, like maybe when things settle down, just unless she like completely embraces the city right away. The city that's an intimidating place for her.
It can be daunting first
Yeah,
time.
so like I figure maybe go in slow pieces, but if she's like, "Oh, that was great, let's go back next weekend," then the game on.
Well, City Field, you're not really getting into Manhattan. You just
Yeah.
swinging into Queens.
I was there.
Did I see
last night.
you're wearing it on your shirt? Yes, yes.
I was there last night when they took care of the Dodgers. She's seen pictures and videos, and this is her remark every time. That seems like a lot of people.
Oh, the people in the stands.
Yeah, yeah. I said, yeah, it can be.
And don't they play baseball over there in the Philippines?
They're aware of it, but they don't have any like real any leagues that I'm aware of. And the NBA is pretty big over there. It's pretty popular.
Oh, basketball is more.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
There's hoops everywhere.
No matter where you go, Manila or where she's at.
Well, I'll let you. This time will be the first time I've ever been to Manila, so I'll let you know. But
what they play, what they.
Down in the south of the Philippines, it seemed like basketball. I'm sure, and soccer, boxing. I guess because Manny Pacquiao boxing is pretty popular.
Yeah, I would have thought soccer would be. Pretty popular.
Those seem like the three main things that they talked about. Hockey wasn't one of them. I was surprised.
Yeah, with the cool temperatures you got in the Philippines. The ice doesn't stay around too long. Yeah. So I didn't know until just this podcast that she lived near the Pacific Ocean, right?
No, well, it's technically, but they call. I mean, at that piece of it's called the Philippine Sea.
Oh, okay.
But yes, it's a body of water that touches the Pacific Ocean. So
yeah, I got to brush up on my World War II history. I don't know where MacArthur came back to.
So I mean, the Philippines is kind of like the size of this, and but it's all islands. They some touch, some don't. It's like a
they're not all inhabited either, right? Or are they?
No, there's over 7,000, but I don't know how many are actually like where people are living. But
yeah.
I went to one island. The first time I was out there, we did like a little boat tour, and then we went to this one island. Like people were living on it, but it was smaller than your front yard.
Oh, fairly remote.
Yeah, so then you go on there, and then they trying to sell you everything under the sun because they do that.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, when you talk about taking her down to the Brooklyn Bridge, give her the full American experience and give her a couple of dirty water dogs.
Oh, yeah, she's probably like those. And then on the way out, watch the street performers do backflips. Yeah, maybe something like that.
Oh, yeah, you can see the whole world in one trip to the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah, she could. The one thing I liked about the bridge that they did probably 2 or 3 years ago, The bike lane is now on the street underneath.
Oh, okay.
So it's just people walking on
Oh,
top
well,
now.
that's good. I used to walk often when I, was down and working down there.
Yeah.
I would go for lunch, get an hour lunch. I come back in 3 hours. That's how it works. But
Yeah.
I would walk over to Brooklyn Bridge and sit down in that park over. You get on the Brooklyn side, you make a right. There's a little park there.
Yeah, Brooklyn Park, right down the road.
Yeah, I used to sit there and relax for a little while and then walk back. But it was always a pain in the neck with the bike riders.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember I'm taking trips where inner city Bronx kids, and they get into a cursing match with a guy on a bike. You're like, oh my god, please, let's just get
Yeah.
off this thing.
What did they do? Build a new bike lane
So
under the?
underneath where this lane and that lane, the two lanes, they built a fence on the inside part, and they made a little bike lane on both sides where they shoot back and forth.
Under the pedestrian pathway?
Yeah, underneath, right underneath.
Oh, so because there's traffic under there too.
Yeah, but they fenced the bike lane, so there's like a little league chain fence about maybe 6 feet high that goes up and down. So I guess they're protected.
Oh, I see. Oh, on
Yeah.
the same on the motorway.
Yeah, on the asphalt pavement. where the
Oh,
cars drive.
okay. Okay. Well, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, but it was getting dangerous. It gets tight up there.
It's tight. There's a lot of people, a lot of tourists go over that bridge. A lot of just New Yorkers go over that bridge.
Yeah.
And
And then
throwing the
when-
bikes on there was a little crowded.
Yes, it can get. This year we took the kids in April. The students. There was no. I couldn't believe it. There was no. Jesus, I can't think of it. People pedaling anything on the bridge. They were all gone. It was wide open.
Wow.
I don't know if the cops decided, hey, get off here. I mean, in the beginning of the bridge, when you first walk on, there was all those stands where they sell.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, so-
for a predominant amount of that walkway over the Brooklyn Bridge, you can look down at the traffic going by.
Yes, you can. There's a couple of planks that need to be replaced.
Yeah, I'm sure is. There's a couple of hops. You do a little hopping sometimes.
Yeah,
But
and
it's
then
100 and what is it, 140 years old or so?
1860s. Yeah, so
Yeah,
maybe.
1886, I believe.
Oh, it started in the 1860s. You're right, 1886. Yeah,
Is it? That
yeah,
was either,
140 years old. Yeah.
maybe a little earlier than that. Was one or the other was 1886, either the Statue of Liberty or the Brooklyn Bridge.
I think the Statue of Liberty was 1886, 1888, something like that.
Yeah, so then the Brooklyn Bridge would be a few years earlier than that. Only
And
because
that-
I was down there for both 100-year anniversaries. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
And that was, I mean, as you know, the Statue of Liberty came over as a penny, color of copper, and then the rain changed it to green.
oxidation, sure, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. There's a long story I can get into, but I won't bore the people with that. But so yeah, so like I said, we're all very excited. If I can interject a little bit off the subject, what do you think about the Mets?
Yeah, we could pivot.
How do you like that pivot?
30. I mean, they're one of the top 5 best records in baseball in the last 10 to 14 days. They haven't been playing that great. I mean, playing decent, but and a lot of guys aren't even waking up yet. So you gotta like where they are. I think they're definitely one bullpen guy away, and probably if you can get another starter, that would be great. because
But
you
they're
always
still
need
in
to-
first place, yes?
They're actually 2 back of the Phillies because the Phillies got real hot, and we were playing like 500 baseball, and they got hot.
Oh,
so.
okay. How is Soto doing?
He's been he hasn't been up to what people people are like, oh, he's not having a good start to the year, but then you start to look at his numbers and you're like, yeah, you're right, he's not 290 and on pace for 40 home runs, but he's still batting 250. He's got like 35 runs scored, 25 RBIs.
Well, as we're recording, it's May 26th.
Yeah,
It's
his on-
Memorial Day, and
Yeah,
we appreciate all of those who gave their lives for this country. So 25 RBIs is not too bad for the end of May.
no, it's and he hasn't even gotten hot. So let's say he has a hot month or so, and all of a sudden he's on pace for 90.
How many homers does he have?
8. Little soft, but-
He was bound to go through this when you signed that humongous contract, the GDP of Rhodesia. I mean, he was bound to have this kind of criticism, you know. So he had to have like Ruth-like numbers in April and May to silence everybody, and that wasn't going to happen, regardless. The
Yeah.
guy's a human being, you know.
If anyone who's listening to this podcast did not catch his subtle joke there, you missed out. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, Lindor's first year he struggled. Carlos Beltran's first year he struggled. Some people, because they all came in on a big contract, but back then, you know, not now. Beltran's contract probably small, but at the time it was big. Lindor came in, Soto come in, you know, like, and they're not homegrown, right? So like the Alonsos and you know, Beatty, who's starting to heat up, and you know, it's a different. Like you've been a part of the organization for years. Like you're coming in as an outsider, and you got to find your way. And you know, there's a lot. You know, every single media person's asking you, "Why aren't you hitting? Why aren't you hitting? What's going on?" You know, it's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 26, and we
Yeah.
both know as you get older, that's a kid. That's a kid.
Yeah. I don't consider someone not being hot at the end of May. I mean, you got to wait.
No.
You got to wait till you know, school gets out before you start making it. You know, but a couple of podcasts ago, I spoke to a fellow who has his own podcast called More to Consider, and I didn't notice going in, but he was a I know you're an avid listener, but I'm just going to assume you haven't seen this one yet, Sean.
I have not seen this one.
Yeah, it's called his podcast is called More to Consider, Moore, and I didn't know this going in, but he coached in Virginia. He was describing this whole baseball hub down in Virginia. He coached David Wright, Justin Verlander, just unbelievable. B.J. Surhoff. Check out that podcast. The list goes on and on.
Did he?
But he had
coach
David
the Upton
Wright.
brothers?
He had David Wright when he was 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I found that to be interesting, intriguing.
Did he know he was going to be a stud at 11, or
No, he said he was like a pudgy little kid. He didn't really, you know, it wasn't, I guess, until high school that he blossomed into someone that those scouts would look at. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know that tells you that's the type of kid who just kept working.
Well, he did say how you know, he did say his family was very supportive. Like his mother would come with the brothers he had younger brothers, and they would all go around to wherever David Wright was playing or whatever, you know. So he had a good foundation, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, if you keep working, you never know. You just never know what's going to happen. You know.
Yeah, but check that one out. You'd be amazed how many major leaguers came out of Virginia. I never knew it.
Yeah.
You know, you're always, in terms of American ball players, you're always looking at California, Texas, Florida, places where it's warm a lot.
Yeah.
And occasionally you'll get somebody from New York City, but it's really Florida or California is where a lot of the American major leaguers come from.
Oh, for sure. Did he mention the names BJ and Justin Upton?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Or
came.
maybe it was
that same-
B.J. Upton instead of, what did I say, B.J. Surhoff?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have to double check, but
Yeah,
he was
David
throwing
Wright
so
grew
many
up-
names out there. I was amazed that they all were in this system in Virginia.
Is it still a hotbed, or he didn't say that?
I don't know. These were all, you know, I don't know if he's still coaching. To be honest, I'm not 100%
Yeah, well, David
sure.
Wright's probably closing in on 40, so you're talking 30 years ago almost, right? 25, 30 years ago. So.
Yeah, but he played. Well, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. In terms of when he was 11.
Yeah, when he was coaching.
Yeah. No, I agree. But he played. When the hell did he retire? 2017.
2018, and he was like, you know, younger 30s, 32 to 34. Like,
Yeah, we talked, me and this gentleman, about how his tail end of his career was kind of cut short. He had back problems.
yeah, he had the same thing Mattingly went through.
Yeah, with
You
the
know.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because both of those guys probably would have been Hall of Famers if that doesn't happen. But you know,
he mentioned that. Yeah.
that's life. You know, that's part of playing sports. Injuries are going to dictate kind of people's careers to a certain degree.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're a Met fan, a baseball fan, so I think you might enjoy that particular podcast.
More to consider. It just came out, right?
Yeah, I forget what I titled it. No, it came out about, I published it maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. Off the top of my
Yeah.
head, I don't remember.
Okay.
But It's MOORE. I forget what I called it. Doesn't matter. But anyway,
Oh, gotcha.
yeah. So, but MOORE is in the title somewhere.
Did he become a Met fan because he followed David Ryder, or did he just?
Oh, he's not a Met fan.
Yeah.
In fact, it was ironic because I mentioned it. I asked him, because he's from Virginia. I said, "You're either a Baltimore Orioles fan or a Washington Nationals fan." He goes, "No, I'm a Boston Red Sox fan."
Ooh.
So he grew up a big Yastrzemski fan. See,
Okay, I got you.
yeah,
Yeah, he was a hell of a player. I got that.
yeah. We talked about that three generation left fielder thing. Ted Williams to Yastrzemski to Jim Rice. The Red Sox had basically three left fielders for about 50 something years.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the Green Bay Packers and how they go from quarterbacks. They went from Brett Favre for like 10 years, Aaron Rodgers for 10 years, because football's a little different. And now they have this quarterback. They've only had three quarterbacks over the last like 25 years. I think the Jets have had like 30.
30 and three a game, right?
Yeah, it's like you're just like, geez, it's like now you understand the formulas.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I appreciate you coming on because I wanted to have you on because of this good news. So you basically tied up all the loose ends except for the three other things you still have to do over there in Manila.
Yeah, everything is done. We have
So
to organize.
I'm sorry, your green light to go after school year ends here is on?
Yeah, so the medical is the 23rd and 24th. Fingerprinting is the day before the interview, and the interview is July 1st. And then you find out that day, and then we wait a couple of days in Manila for the documents, all the proper documents, and then the
Now,
window opens.
does she go to the interview or both of you?
Just her. I don't go into the interview.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so but I'll be waiting out, in the coffee shop or whatever the closest thing is. So yeah, she does the interview. AI or online said it takes somewhere between around 30 half hour or so, whatever it may be. So it's not like this daunting.
But you somewhere in the process you must have had to supply some sort of attestation, right?
Oh yeah, so on my end from last August, I did so you have to fill out the application, um, sign an affidavit about you're agreeing to all this. There's your employment his letter of proof, W-2s, tax form, like pay stubs. There's a lot that I had to do in
Yeah,
collections.
like they didn't know that crap already.
Yeah, so but I'm getting vetted by Homeland Security. I have to go through a Homeland Security process.
Okay.
So then once we got approved on February 13th, that's saying that Sean is good. Now we just have to, go through the process to her, and then now these last three things is really her getting vetted at the embassy to make sure she's okay.
Right. Which
And that's
we're all sure she is.
yeah, she is. So
It makes you wonder, as you described over. This is the third of this 4-part series. I'm going to get to what the fourth part's going to be. The question, it makes you wonder how many things. We're just talking about one person from one country, the Philippines. How many people are in this process at the same time?
that a lot. Like when I say thousands, I don't know the number. I don't know if that means 50,000 or 10,000, but thousands of people are involved.
Probably thousands just from the Philippines, right?
Yeah, so it's if I met someone online from first thing South Africa, you have to do the same thing. It's the same.
No, I mean, there's like every country in the world must have people in the pipeline waiting to get approved to come here legally.
Yes, and
Yeah.
then vice versa. Like if I'm, let's say I live in Africa, I met someone in Russia and I want to go to Russia. I'm sure they have their process, and
Yeah.
like every country has their immigration process.
Yeah.
So yeah, like global dating, I guess I don't know if that's a term, but like global dating has become pretty common now because of online dating apps and social media and
Well,
all that.
that's a good point. I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
It's the same thing as like in the global economy. Like everyone's trading with everybody. Well, global dating, you're able to now date around the world, that's something that you want to do, you know?
Right. That's a concept I didn't even consider. I appreciate you
Yeah,
saying that. Yeah. More to
yeah.
consider. I think that's,
More to consider. Yeah,
I, no,
it's
that's what I
pretty.
titled that podcast. I knew we'd wrap it up.
But you know, it's pretty common. 30 years ago, people still got married from other countries. This isn't,
No.
it's a lot. With technology, it's become so much easier to like FaceTime and talk and communicate. Like, whereas I know stories of people like you used to write letters, and that's how you communicate. That's pretty, and like you would send a picture in the mail, which is, like seems like a foreign idea now, but 30 years ago that was pretty common. It wasn't, you
Hmm.
know,
Oh,
that foreign of an idea.
you could buy when I was a kid, you could buy a wrestling magazine and the back was all classifieds. You wanted to buy,
Yeah.
yeah. That's how it was before the internet, young man.
You used to have to write to people. That was,
Yeah, I used to actually have pen and paper, put a stamp
yeah.
on it. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you remember the international. Not that I used them, but there was the international calling cards. I'm sure that was a big thing on payphones. So that's how
Oh
people used
yeah,
to
yeah,
communicate.
yeah. Well, that's a lot of recent immigrants use those, of course. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure they still do, right?
yeah. I mean, I think everyone has a. So if you have an iPhone, she has an iPhone. I have an iPhone, so everything is. You don't have to worry. FaceTime is free.
Mm.
So, like it's just easy. Like it pays to just have the same. I don't know if Samsung's the same way, but I just know iPhone. Every time we FaceTime, it's a zero cost. If I called her like a normal phone call, that would cost money.
Mm. I got
So
Scrabble. I got Samsung. I got a Scrabble app.
nice.
Yeah.
How you doing in
Oh, unbelievable.
it?
The technology, I tell you.
Oh, forget about it.
So that's good. I know I had a couple more questions, but I can't think of it at the moment. So, so I will give a preview. So what I would have in my mind, it doesn't have to be in reality, but in my mind was this obviously is the third of three so far on this particular subject. And I was thinking a glorious way to end this little discussion about you and Lenny would be to have another podcast with you and Lenny here in the United States.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she'd be okay with that. But yeah,
We won't ask her to sing unless she wanted to, you know.
I mean, we'll see how she's feeling. Sometimes she's like super confident and will belt it out, and sometimes she gets a little shy. So who knows?
Well, that's the thing. I don't want to
Yeah.
put her on the spot or embarrass her, but I'd love to close this issue out with that, you know.
With a little song and dance.
A little, triumphant conclusion to
Yeah.
the immigration saga we're in the middle of here. So, all right. So, thank you for coming on tonight, Shawnee boy. It's Memorial Day, as I said, and I'm sure you wouldn't speaking for Shawnee boy. We appreciate the sacrifice of our veterans who died to keep us safe and free. And we'll see you soon.
All right, T.
What
I didn't
were
know
you
if
doing?
I didn't
Dabbing
know if
your
you had-
eyes? What are you doing over there?
I was just waiting for you. I was giving you some space to finish.
You were waiting for the Gettysburg Address? All right, I ran out of something
I
to
was
say.
ready to tear up. I was about to start tearing up, but
No one ever accused me of being eloquent, you know what I mean?
yeah, but yeah, T. Listen, it's always a pleasure to come on the Gritty Hour.
Yeah.
Always.
All right, my friend, my nephew, and my Quasimodo co-host. So we'll see you soon, Shawnee boy.
All right,
Hey,
brother.
hey, you're looking good. You're looking good. Show
Thank
this podcast to Lenny. She'll be impressed. All right, have a good night.
All right.
All right.